It is August the 28th, 2025, and you know why you're here, so let's start this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Gerissar, a WoW esports aficionado.
What's up, guys? It's Bigmoran, and I am the #1 fan of MVQ the Demon Hunter.
And hey, it's TreesapJake here, and I'm a recovering Mythic Plus addict.
Oh my goodness. Is there a 12-step program for that?
What, recovering from being an M Plus addict or becoming a #1 fan of MVQ?
Both?
Yeah, well, maybe there is.
Get
Get swole, I think, because that's the thing I noticed from MVQ from that video is that guy looks nothing like any of the pictures I've ever seen him of him in general. He looks strong.
All the WoW players look nice on that stream.
Yeah, I noticed that they all look like they've been taking care of their bodies, their minds, and their gaming skills. So
and their arena rating.
And their arena rating, yes. Apparently, you need to work out to climb CR. Speaking of climbing CR, right before we started here, you guys were talking about your goals and how it's going. So I think first to you, Big. You're the one that started the conversation. How are you doing this week for your CR?
Pretty good. I just got 2400 on my Resto Druid. Had a bit of a rocky start because I started playing Arena a little bit late into the season. And granted, the season's only been out for 3 weeks, but yeah, I wasn't ahead on gear, which I found out was very punishing. And but now everything's good, and I think I'm going to shift my focus to my rogue once I get that character geared up a little bit more.
Are you going to just do the crate run, or how are you going to gear it?
It's a good question. I'm looking for, ideally I want to be capping through 2v2, but the crate runs are okay. It's just I get a little bit bored of those. It's a little. And they take a long time. And I think if you can just win in 2v2, it's probably a little bit faster.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's just a matter of risk and reward, right? Like the crate run is zero risk. It's just throw on Netflix and just fly around. And Jake, you were saying that you're not having a good time so far trying to climb the ladder?
Well, it's a bit, I won't lie to you guys. I have I think my first ever shuffle, I went 0-6. Like, it was bad. Normally the first shuffle is good. Actually, no, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's really bad. But it's been a rough one clawing back to 50% win rate in shuffle. So that's not been great. But otherwise, Battleground Blitz been going good. I've been really enjoying that. I find Ellie's really fun.
Yeah. Ellie's a blast.
Quite literally, Ellie Blast. But yeah, it's been really good. I've enjoyed that aspect. Done a few bit of threes, bit of twos. It's been a fun season so far. And one of the things I've realized is that, and the reason why I'm obviously a recovering M Plus addict is because for the first 2 weeks I pretty much only did M Plus, and I actually really enjoyed it. I used to only be able to do like 2 keys, but I really did enjoy it. So it's nice to do like both facets of the game for once.
Yeah. I do enjoy Mythic Plus. Up to a point. There's a point where like just the ever increasing health pools and the amount of damage that the bosses or the mobs do on you, and just there's a certain point where it just kind of becomes boring. Like, it's just like, sure, it's getting a bit more difficult, but the way the scaling of difficulty just isn't really that much better. And so it's just, having to do a bit more damage, having to, try to take a few more mobs so you can cluster and take them all down faster. I don't know, it just gets, I wish there was something else there to make it harder without making it just about damage and health pools. But that's interesting. So I'm kind of curious for both of you, and I know we've seen it already, seeing the different statistics coming out. Ret Paladins are like super popular right now in PvP. How are you guys finding that on your shuffles?
To me, as a healer, it's kind of a dual-edged sword, because Ret Paladins right now do some crazy damage. I believe with Hammer of Light. I don't know how exactly it works, but they do big damage. Um, and at the same time, a lot of other classes are doing big damage too, like Arcane Mages, Marks Hunters, Survival Hunters. Everyone's just doing big bursty damage. So it's kind of nice when you have a Ret Paladin on your team when they can lay on hands someone, you know? Like
Yep.
it's nice to have the utility of a Ret Paladin when they're on your team, but when they're on the enemy team, you know, it can be a bit frustrating. Specifically, you know, if you're playing a class like a rogue or something, where all your little setups are getting denied, you know, one by one. Meanwhile, you know, this Ret Paladin is doing giga damage. So I don't know.
Mhm.
It's a dual edged sword for sure from my perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, I would also agree. There are times when Rhett absolutely blasts, and this is the thing I've noticed. I think it's always been the case since Shuffle existed. They either are paired up with a really good set of, I guess, potential comps like Rat Warrior, for example, or maybe Rat Hunter, where they really do well. And then you put them in like a caster lobby, like Boomkin, Mage, Ellie, for example, just to name some of the experiences I've had. And they just get clapped, like fully clapped. They just they do nothing because although they've got really good range, they don't have anything to kind of stick. And
Mhm.
especially when you have like a potential comps that don't have any MS effect, I think they are carried by their high damage with an MS effect personally.
Oh yeah.
And when they don't have that option, like nothing really dies, but I think the casters tend to outlive. But obviously that's not always the case. Some rets just go in there and absolutely just kick their teeth in.
Yeah. I think that's always kind of the case with Ret. And if I remember correctly, there's a couple procs where they get like extra judgments which can get off a bunch extra damage too, right? Is it a little, or am I thinking of a previous season or
I don't know
something?
how their damage works these days, but
Yeah.
something with this season's tier set is really good for Ret. And
Yeah.
I don't remember what hero talent they're playing right now, but they have one of those tier sets that's like harder to nerf in PvP, where it has like an effect that sure you can slap a maybe a 50% modifier on one part of it, but you can't really slap a 50% modifier on the other part. Like we're seeing this right now with Resto Shamans. Resto Shamans are a really good healer right now because their tier set summons an ancestor whenever they use Ancestral Swiftness, which is a 30-second cooldown. And the
Mhm.
ancestor is just a clone of them, basically. It copies what they do. So, I mean, how are you going to nerf an ancestor? You know, are you going to make it summon half of an ancestor? Plus, they have all these downstream benefits, like when they expire, they do an effect. You know, it's just right now, again, we're in a situation where the meta is kind of being dictated a little bit by tier sets, I think,
Yeah.
which, depending on who you ask, is maybe an argument for getting rid of tier sets in PvP.
I think
Yeah.
they're a good thing to have if they're done right. And I think sadly, a big issue with the PvP gearing at the minute is the fact that it's so like vast and different because every tier set, unlike before, is to a specific hero talent or hero, I guess, class, whatever you've gone for. And because of that, it's so wild and different. Like I'll give you an example. Stormbringer Ellie is like cracked. It's so good in M plus because it does so much damage.
Mhm.
But it's like got loads of modifiers. Like the force is like got like a 3% nature damage buff, and then Tempest does, which is the name of the spell that you get from Stormbringer, does extra damage to a single target and then more to multiple just from that force set. And then the force set for the Farseer, which is the spec that Big was talking about, where you summon an ancestor, is like I think it reduces the cooldown of Lava Burst and then reduces the mana cost, and then you do like I think about maybe 5% extra damage. So it really varies on like what's good and what kind of works. And I think like the balancing is hard from that aspect, and then add the PvP modifiers, add everything else on top, and it all becomes very very complicated when they could just
Yeah.
make very minor tier sets for PvP that don't affect the game too much, but just give you a little bit more agency. Like let's say, Ellie wants like a third charge of Lava Burst. I know it's baked into their talent points at the minute, but let's say you wanted a third charge of Lava Burst. Just give them that.
Yeah.
That's it. You just when you've got your tier set on, that's all it does. It's like a little bit extra, something to work towards, something that you want to do that you put the time into doing. and then that way you'll do that. But I know the main reason why is because realistically, Blizzard want people doing all facets of the game, so they spend more time in the game and they stay longer subscribed. So that way, this way that they're doing is better for them in that sense.
Is it really that, or is it just a matter of dev time where it's easier to have just develop one set of gear, then it's done, and they're not having to develop a second set of gear just for PvP?
Well,
Arguably, 1%.
Yeah. I
my
agree.
my counter to that would be the tier sets from previous expansions, like in Mists of Pandaria, for instance. The tier set is exactly the same every single season in the tier set bonuses. Your 2 set is like bonus resilience or something, and your 4 set is actually like some unique effect. Like I don't know exactly what the druid one is, but I'm just gonna imagine it's like increased range on cyclone from your 4 set. So they could just make one tier set potentially for the entire expansion, and just sort of keep it on a relatively low power budget, or make it affect something that is beneficial no matter what the meta is. And I think that would be possibly a better approach. I mean, it's a bit tricky because I do like tier sets. I
Yeah, me
like.
too.
I think they can make the game really fun. Like
Mhm.
especially when they can affect how you modify your rotation. I think they can be really fun in that regard. But at the same time, I think they obviously do create like a massive balancing issue.
Well, I think that's the question is how much of this is really a balancing issue because of the tier set? Because I think if they're nerfed properly, I think this time they just did, what was it, like a 33% nerf or 66% nerf, and they're still like this impactful. But I think it also goes back to the other things we've talked about and seen where, case in point, like some of these talents where they have all these other modifiers that it gets a little crazy. The amount of modifiers in the background for a bunch of the abilities is just a modifier on a modifier. It's like it's duplicative, multiplicative, exponential. Like it gets nuts. So I think, honestly, this is kind of my worry of where we're at, and I want to lead into the fact that or remind that Midnight got announced. We got a bunch of information. A few more questions came out of that information, but still, we got a good idea of what's coming down the pipeline. One of them is a stat squish, which we said we should be seeing soon, and ta-da, here it is. But again, though, they're just doubling down on this hero talent thing, and now they're bringing in Apex talent, so it's just another set of more. Like we're getting to that point of bloat again.
Yeah.
Are we going to see like a pruning in the last expansion?
I was just thinking about this because you could argue that Warlords of Draenor was like the expansion that tried to rein in on power creep a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
up until that point, like class design in Mists of Pandaria was pretty crazy, and then they sort of reined it in with WoD by pruning abilities and whatnot. And I don't think we've had like a pruning expansion in a while, right? Like we're just getting insane power creep with the addition of, was it 10 new points across the entire
Yep.
talent tree or something?
Yeah, it's 10 new points, and I think 4 something for Apex, like 4 more or whatever.
I was on the impression that you don't have to put your points into the Apex ones, and
No,
you can just ignore them.
yes, it's going to be just 10 points you can put wherever, but they said that the Apex are pretty juicy and kind of said you'd be silly to not use them.
I get. I would be shocked. Well, I wouldn't be shocked actually if some absolute giga brain found out that actually, like, someone's going to have a pretty mediocre. This is the problem as well that we talked about. Someone's going to have a pretty mediocre Apex bit. I feel for the content that you want to do, and someone's going to find out that it's just going to be better to put the points into some really cool bit in the in your sort of like class tree or whatever. Your spec tree. Sorry, I imagine that's going to happen. But I do agree that there is a considerable blow. In fact, actually, I was talking about this last week to someone that if I log into Classic, as in the original Classic, and I look at my binds for that and compare them to my retail binds, I have just as many. I have just as many binds on Classic as I do on retail, which for me, I remember Classic having so many buttons. There were loads, way more than ever, and now I've got tons. There are absolutely tons on retail, but they've done a clever thing. It's not necessarily borrowed powers anymore. They've just baked them into your class fantasy.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
So
but I think thinking about and going back to the whole after WoD and where we're at, though, there's all the expansions with the Heart of Azeroth and the legendary weapons, and those brought in things. But then, like when we went to the next expansion, they just got wiped out. Maybe an ability or two got baked into your new spell book, but otherwise everything else was gone. Versus like what we have right now is what basically what we had Dragonflight and the War Within together, and now Midnight is packing in on top of that too. I don't know what they're going to do for the last of the trilogy, but I'm guessing it's probably just going to be another set of hero talents or some other like super gemstone or something. I don't know. We'll have a few more
my
points.
theory.
Huh.
So here's my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory.
All right.
Remember good old Plunderstorm?
Yep.
I'm convinced that well, this is not just my theory. It's Jax and I have been talking about this, or we did talk about this. Plunderstorm, we think, is some internal tool that Blizzard had in the background to test abilities. And I mean, if you think about it, they literally incorporated a Plunderstorm ability into WoW this expansion with slicing winds for Windwalker monks. So I think, if you're wondering what abilities might be in the pipeline, just look at Plunderstorm and maybe we're going to get something. I know they have those arrows or whatnot and the chains, maybe that DK thing, or maybe the chains are some DK ability that was supposed to exist, And so, yeah, I think what is the expansion past midnight? What is it?
I can't
Do you know what
remember.
it's called?
The
Last Titan. Yeah, so maybe we'll see some more Plunderstorm abilities in the
That's
Last
funny.
Titan.
Are you, so is that the supposition that Plunderstorm is actually a way to make the common player a beta tester?
Maybe.
No wonder they're able to
real
fire all their
Giga
QA.
brainstorm.
Yeah. I do want to talk about a little bit more about season 3. With how fast is the meta?
It's very fast. I mean, well, as always, it's kind of an enigma. Like, damage is very, very, very high and very spiky, but games can wind up being really, really long. There's that weird paradox. And like most of my solo shuffle games as a healer go to like 50% dampening at least, which seems pretty crazy when people are just getting one shot left and right. So, you really have to be on your toes. But I mean, there's some outliers, obviously, like Arcane Mage, they're barraging for like 13 million or something. Mark's Hunters do an absurd amount of damage. Survival Hunters can do an absurd amount of burst. There's, I think, some problematic specs. And we don't know what the tuning notes are going to be yet, but I'm guessing, if I had to bet, that we're going to see some potential Arcane Mage nerfs, probably Mark's Hunter, maybe another DK nerf, but poor DKs, they're not allowed to be good. Blizzard always slaps them on the wrist. DKs just do an absurd amount of damage the entire game. They're not really bursty. So I would expect maybe an Arcane Mage nerf, Mark's Hunter nerf, Survival Hunter probably, and a few select others.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel bad because we kind of went a little bit hard on Rhett, but we didn't talk about Unholy DK, and their numbers are pretty crazy right now.
Yeah, they're cruising.
Silently.
They're bursting actually. More than Ellie. Yeah.
They're bursting, and I'm sore. So, yeah, that was a really bad dad joke. but it's true. They are very underrated. Although I will say that I played against and with a DK in my shuffle. Now against me, guy's immortal, could not kill him. With me, he was paper. So that's my opinion on DKs right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Huh.
because the Windwalker just ate through him. That's why I left that part out. But
Okay.
it's still true. It's fact, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, isn't that the way the paper rock scissors set up? That Windwalker is the nemesis of DK.
I think all physical is the nemesis of DK, which means that sadly, me, a non-physical boy,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not the nemesis, and I
No.
get pooped on.
No. You got you're too busy trying to fight through AMZ, AMS, all the interrupts, the strangulates, the everything. So, all right. How about you, Jake? Do you have any predictions for tuning that we're gonna see soon?
Well, it's a very good question. For me, I think the obvious one is the Arcane Mage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard there's no real way to. Is there a way to avoid it or dodge? Like, because I think it's like what three barrages, and then they're charged up to just pop you.
I just think you just need to. I mean, I say this as a non-mage player. I feel as if what you want to avoid is the insane damage at the top end. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
7K, 9K barrages is a bit nuts. I've had a few screenshots sent to me where the Arcane Mage genuinely does like incredible amounts of damage, way more than anyone else, and it's really intense. So I would say they probably need a little nerf, not like a huge amount, but just something to take the top end off. Whether or not
Mm-hmm.
that's affecting crits or whether or not it's the modifiers that come in there, it's difficult because there are so many.
That's the thing. I'm wondering, like, once they're charged up, like all they have to do is pop off a couple barrages, which I mean they can easily do within a second and a half. They'll take you from 90 to 0. Like there's not really a
Yeah,
way. There's not a way to respond to that.
they have that new PvP talent. I don't remember what it's called. Spark of something.
Mm-hmm.
Which replaces Touch of the Magi, but it it's on a 15-second cooldown, and it increases the damage of the next attack by an absurd amount. Oh, it's called Nether Flux.
Ah.
Yeah, increases the damage of the next spell by 40%, and it generates 4 arcane charges. So they can, just press this thing and barrage immediately after. So maybe if they made Nether Flux dispellable or something, that might be a potential form of counterplay. But I mean, what they did in this patch is they reworked Arcane Mage Mastery, which I think is why they're doing such absurd damage. Like they giga buff their mastery, and then I think a lot of mages are also playing the Sun Fury Phoenix build, and that thing is scary. That thing can cast Greater Pyroblast. Like, and it casts absurdly fast. If you've ever seen an Arcane Mage Deathlog when their Phoenix is out, that thing hits for like 2 million 4 times in the span of 1 second. So it just does 8 million damage. Just boom.
Like there's no way to avoid that then. Like you're
I
gonna
don't think
die.
so. No. Yeah, I think they're gonna have to nerf the Phoenix, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do something with the Barrage, because Barrage has all these crazy modifiers.
Yeah.
That make it deal absurd damage, especially if the target's on low HP. So yeah, I can see Arcane being a obvious target for nerfs this week.
Okay.
But I mean, Mark's Hunters I think are going a little bit under the radar too.
Aren't all hunters? I feel like survival is also mega busted.
Yeah, survival is really good too.
I saw a Deathlog with a black arrow. It was just like it was it was nuts. I think the person was like 100 to 0 in a cast and a half. It was like, yeah.
Yeah, Mark's Hunters do some crazy stuff like with explosive shot and aim shot right now. It all kind of combos into each other and they proc each other. It's really weird. And then they just, take you 100 to 0 in 1 second.
I will say I don't mind that so much in the if it takes like a bunch of abilities, you have to line them up properly. There's that whole that skill set reward where if you're able to take all these things and line them up just right, that you're going to do something crazy and absurd. That seems okay to me because there's so many things that can interrupt or disrupt that chain of events for them to get to that point. It's when it's push one button and then suddenly you can just 0 to 100, take somebody down to 0 in an
Well,
instant.
that's what they're doing. So explosive shot gives them instant aim shots. So the damage is really hard to avoid. Like the explosive shot will give them lock and load, which makes their aim shot instant. Their aim shot will proc the explosive shot early. And so it's just like it's this overlapping cascade of damage that is just like pretty
Ooh.
hard to avoid.
Oh,
Um
okay. That's
so
yeah,
yeah,
that's not
yeah,
okay.
it's tough.
That's not okay. Oh, Blizzard. It's like it needs an internal cooldown or something.
But you know what? You know what spec I have not seen this entire season is Frost
What?
Mage. They like dipped off really hard and they
That's
fell
right.
off the face of the planet. I have
Yeah.
yet to play against a Frost Mage this entire season. Um
Yeah,
and what a
I remember
huh?
Ven was playing around trying to get it to work and it was just noodles. He was just slapping with noodles. It was not good. He was
Yep.
trying really hard to make it work and he just couldn't. It felt
Uh,
awkward and clunky.
I'm gonna spill the secret tech on
Okay.
on the Frost Mage. I have a friend of mine called Orkanax who's played for pretty much the last 2 expansions, so
Hmm.
Dragonflight and this one, full mastery Frost Mage
Okay.
with Frostbomb and what's it called, Snowdrift and everything.
Yep.
The mastery just when you're I think when you're frozen, you take considerable more damage. It was good in Dragonflight when you could get those massive buffs to mastery, and I think he'll probably kind of focus on the mastery now. But he can pretty much like one shot anyone with it in the
Okay.
Snowdrift. And
Oh
so
wow.
sending that in shuffle where people don't really know what you're doing, and you just like he just one taps people all the time. So I think that still works as far as I'm aware. It's no one's ever really nerfed it,
Hmm.
but yeah, when your Ice Lance does a lot of damage, he just kind of rips through people as long as they don't stop him.
Okay. So maybe that's just it. People are probably gearing for haste instead of mastery or something.
Yeah, it's
Um.
impossible to do early on unless you fully commit.
Mhm. Snowdrift, is that no? What's the ability that the Frost Mage has where they like do micro slows on you or snares? Is that Snowdrift?
Snowdrift is like their stun. It's like
Yeah.
Okay,
they
because
a swirl pops around their character, and if you stand in the swirl for 3 seconds or something, you get stunned.
okay, maybe that's it. Yeah. So no, I remember trying to chase down a mage once, and it's like I was getting so frustrated. It
Oh,
was
that's just standard mage.
yeah,
Trying to chase them.
getting well. I was getting stunned, so maybe that was it. Um, so let's okay. Let's get off the tinfoil hat a little bit and let's talk about Midnight and actually what's coming down the pipeline. So I know it's not it's not really PvP, but I think it has a lot of options for PvP as the housing. What do you guys think? Like I'm excited for it. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I think it's a system that's going to get a lot of people excited to play WoW, and I'm happy in that regard. You know,
Mhm.
um, if what's that quote about something about rising tides lift all boats or something. I don't know what it was called, but if something is good for the game in general, I think it's good for PvP, sort of indirectly. So I'm excited for player housing.
Okay.
Well, the thing I was thinking about, because a lot of the conversations we talk about, in fact, actually, I was lucky to be in Northern Ireland the last sort of 6-7 days with some WoW friends. We were talking about what you talk a lot about on Twitter, Big, which is you know exclusive rewards in the game are important and they have a certain prestige to them. And we were talking about, well, will there be anything you can put in your house that is tied to stuff that we haven't seen, like previous PvP achievements or new PvP achievements? or M plus achievements, stuff like that. Like, can you put your pennant, like, or the flag that you normally can wear in your house, for example? Stuff like that would be really cool, and I think that it has an opportunity to drive lots of people into the game modes because they want to collect stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with Comp Stomp going the way it's going, there is ample opportunity for new people to discover PvP and learn PvP and get into it a lot more than have been able to, like, in recent sort of months and years. So I'm excited for that.
I want, and I think this is an opportunity that they could do this, is I want to be able to buy a pennant for the teams that I'm cheering on at AWC. I want to be able to put that in my house to cheer them on, and then some of the proceeds to that can go to the prize pool.
Like I don't know how people have like a flag of like, a football team on their
Exactly.
on their door, or on their window. I like
Yep.
it.
Yeah. I'd love to be able to fly a flag or a pennant outside my house and be like, go Direwolves or go Echo.
Yes.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm really I don't I wonder because they've teased those pennants in the in some of the AWC trailers,
Yep.
the cinematic trailers. The characters have like a Cloud9 tabard or whatever, a Cloud9 pennant
Mm-hmm.
in the past. I think that'd be really cool to have that in game, for sure.
Yeah. I think it'd be awesome. And honestly, I think if they actually did crowdsourcing properly, not like they did the one time, and I think by now people have maybe that memory has softened enough that people would be open to it again, so long as it's not worded in such a way as that the Blizzard organization doesn't actually have to pay up anymore, and then people are it's only crowdsourced money. That was slimy.
Yeah, I agree. But that sounds cool, though. I think, well, we've talked about it loads of times on the podcast, whether we should be able to support the teams that we want.
Yeah.
I think the issue that we've got that maybe things like League of Legends don't have is that in League of Legends, the particular teams that are in there for the season are kind of locked in.
Yeah.
So their sponsors are locked in. The sponsors seem to change a lot in WoW PvP. So how easy is it for them to put like a Team Liquid one in there, for example, now that they're no longer sponsored?
Well, and that's a great point because, well, Liquid was sponsoring them for years. Same Method's been around for years. Echo's been sponsoring that team for years. It's only it seems to be like now on like a 4-year cycle that all of a sudden they'll drop, or a 3-year cycle they'll drop and move on to the next one. I think the harder time is when a team builds a name for themselves and then they implode, right? So like Kitty Cats, The Move, Frogs, like all of them. Actually, well, Frogs was Frogs until they got bought up by Cloud9 and then kind of dissolved. So maybe that's a bad example, but I feel like the big names, they maintain their orgs and their teams. It's the smaller teams that will kind of flutter in, flutter out, right? So
yeah, that's the issue. So I mean, but there's only like at this stage, there's only really one. It's Echo that have maintained it now that it was Echo and Team Liquid again, the major in PvE, but now obviously in PvP as well.
Yeah,
those were the two teams that were kind of prevalent. It is a shame that that's the case, but I think that's the only issue I see kind of being in front of it, really, because otherwise, fantastic idea. I think we should be able to do that, and all those proceeds should go towards the arena tournaments to really push that up. But I think people have forgiven. I think people have not forgotten, but gone like, you know what? Yeah, we can give it another shot.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully somebody's listening and make that happen. That'd be really cool. Otherwise, I think so. Here's a question: when housing comes in midnight, well, technically it's coming in 11/27, but you can't do anything unless you pre-order the Epic, and then you have to wait till midnight comes out. But
wait, that's how they're doing it?
Yeah. So
I'm always impressed with Blizzard's genius for
Yeah.
making
So
money. That's
so
awesome.
11.27, anybody can start collecting things for the housing, but only those people that pre-ordered the Epic are going to be able to actually do anything, like actually claim plot and start doing stuff. And then once midnight launches, then everybody else is going to have access to it.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. Marketing genius.
FOMO.
It's the strongest. It's actually the best borrowed power.
It
The
totally
power
is.
of FOMO.
It is. So here's a question, regardless of when it happens, once you guys get your plot, are you going to build anything PvP-esque? Like, are you going to put up something that you own, or are you going to are you going to build like a WWE ring in your plot? Like, what are you going to do?
I don't know. Um, I'd like to have a garden. Do you know if there's gardens in these houses?
Pretty sure. I think you can put shrubberies inside or outside your house.
So I want people to know that I'm gonna farm some crops. And that's
What kind of bushes are you going to be growing there, Big?
don't worry about it.
Too funny. How about you, Jake?
It's a good question, and I think the actual answer is that I will probably make an absolutely disgusting mess of my house, and that's the truth. I mean, it's the truth, really. Like, I
Yep.
have no interior design skills. As much as I'd like to
Neither.
espouse that I do,
Uh,
I think I liked some of the ideas. Actually, you know what? The best idea I liked was like Zaryu turning it into an obstacle course.
mhm.
I was talking about that with my mates. I was like thinking, what do we do? Oh, we'll just turn it into obstacle course, and you've got to try and get to the other end. Just invite your friends over to do an obstacle course in your house, pretty much. And I think that is a cool idea.
That'd be awesome. I love it. And myself as well. I have no decorating skills whatsoever. I'll probably, yeah. It's just going to be a mess. It's going to be an absolute mess. All right. And then you guys mentioned earlier, Comp Stomp becoming training grounds. So nobody doesn't know, they're going to take what was a Wrathy base in Comp Stomp. They're turning it into a forever system. So it's not once in a blue brawl. It's going to be you can queue up anytime you want. Apparently, it's going to have an improved AI, which I'm not sure how they're going to do this, but apparently it's going to test your skills, teach you how the BG works, and teach you how other classes work. So I don't know how it's going to teach you, unless they're expecting that people are going to learn through experience of combating and trying to get through it, or if it's like, I think as we optioned before, again, one of our things you would change or an idea is have like a bubble, a little mage bubble behind your head telling you what to do and what not to do. But it's going to be Arathi Basin, Battle for Gilneas, pardon me, and Silver Shard Mines are the three maps they're going to do. So um I'm kind of surprised it's not going to there's no flag map. It's just going to be, it's just resource maps. I guess Silver Shard, you have the cards, but
Yeah. Well, I think they're probably the best, though. Like, if I'm going to be very honest with you, Battlefield Guinness is my favorite battleground of all time. Like, hands
really,
down. Yeah, it's just so much fun. It's the best one for just having an absolute slugfest. And then if you really want to play it intelligent, you can. If you want to have like it's one of those maps that's so neutral and well designed, in my opinion, that you can mess up on it. You can capitalize on enemies' mistakes. You can have a bit of a slugfest, and you can just play right. And it's a good one to do. I just think it's fun. Like, it's a fun BG. Arathi
interesting.
Basin is also really fun. Like, a really good map.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's a bit more complicated, and it's a bit more nuanced in terms of where you're meant to go, and you can abuse that a little bit more. So if you're trying to like learn PvP, I feel like the best way to do is, first of all, to just get in a slugfest at Waterworks and just press your abilities into people and learn what happens and what happens to you and where to go. And then Silver Shard is, you got the tactics, a good place to kind of learn, okay, yeah, you know what, we need to fight here, or actually if we don't fight here and go the other place, we can win. That's a good place to kind of really learn your tactical skills in WoW, at least in the Battlegrounds. So they kind of have a nice spread, and I like this spread of Battlegrounds personally. But yeah, I mean, Battle for Ganeas is my favorite, and it's a shame that the Comp Stomp isn't. there as well, because you just have a bit of slugfest.
Well, that is it, that Battle for Galeness is one of them. Yeah, or did I misunderstand?
Well, what do you mean?
I thought you said you wish that.
Oh no,
Galeness was
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Oh,
that,
okay.
Sorry, apologies. I'm happy that it's. Yeah, no, I know. I can see. I can. Yeah, it was when I saw that on the panel. I was like, this is a great idea. Perfect. Yeah, so that's
I
fine.
think it's a good one too. Personally, I found Battle for Galeness is not that. Well, I guess it's even to a almost to a point, but once somebody gets 2 out of the 3, it's over almost immediately. The quick how fast you get resources is just insane. That it's almost impossible to come back from that. So I've rarely been able to come back from losing waterworks. But yeah, again, I hope either other players are going to help players learn, or assuming that there's going to be multiple players in this, or if it isn't, that's truly a training ground, that there is something that's showing you along the way to pay attention, what to look for, stuff like that. So
Did they
anyway,
mention anything about an arena for?
nope, it was just the 3 BGs. So actually, I'm going to shout out to Lika, Chris. He made a point, and he wasn't sure is if it's going to be regular BG rules or if it's going to be Blitz rules for these 3 maps.
I imagine
So-
it'd be regular BG, right? Because that's the regular one you do.
Yeah,
Blitz is a specific. It's a rated type of content.
yeah, but it seems to be the way something that everybody enjoys more, and it kind of, because the maps act differently on Blitz, because the way you cap the nodes and they lock out for a period of time. It's if it's not taught right at the beginning, then it's a bit of a jar from somebody coming from regular BGs into Blitz.
I guess I do get that. I just don't think they're going to do it that way, because if you imagine in the hierarchy of people joining to learn the game,
Mhm.
you go from doing comp stomp, which is just versus AI, to going to regular battlegrounds where it's versus people, and then you start doing the rated stuff. In my mind, to kind of
Yeah.
do the rated version in the sort of actual proper training grounds, and then you go and do a normal battleground. You're like, hold on, why are there so many people here? Kind of,
Yeah.
for me, seems a little strange personally. I'd be a bit like, maybe not. What they probably need is a bit more information on what makes it different with Battleground Blitz. Like, there should be an option to select the icon, or
Mhm.
like the letter I next to Battleground Blitz, if you've never queued it before, just to kind of have a little pop up saying, hey, this is what it does, this is what you do, this is what's different on the maps. Something like that would be really good, because actually none of that exists in game, and there's not a lot to tell you otherwise. So that's my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, and that's fair. I don't think there's really a right answer. Like, either way, somebody's gonna feel bad, or they're gonna miss out something, only because there's so many different game modes, right? Because now we're gonna have training mode, regular BGs, epic BGs, battleground blitz, solo queue, 2s, 3s, solo shuffle. I mean, how much? Oh, and rated battlegrounds. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot RBGs exist. To be honest,
I almost did too.
I wonder if they're gonna scrap that bracket. I know there are some people who still play it,
Yeah,
but it's so unpopular compared to everything else.
the numbers are pretty low compared to everything else. Not gonna
It's
lie.
because they killed
Yeah.
it. They killed it with Blitz, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. Like, obviously you get rewards and stuff in Blitz
Mhm.
and everything. So yeah, but it's
Well,
one of those
it's
sort of things.
well, and also you're not seeing LFG queuing up into no voice YOLOs. Because that's the only, because if you're not a meta spec, you won't be picked up. And versus this, I mean, it's basically no voice YOLO, but you just solo queue. So click you get into a group and you are what you are. I think the only thing that really sucks with Blitz is when you queue up and you're up against an opposing team that has a clearly strong flag runner, and you're in a flag map. Like,
Yeah.
getting worse on Gulch, and the other team has a Mistweaver, and you don't have an Evoker or a Mistweaver, right? Like, all right, oh, that was fun game. See, catch you guys next queue. It's
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, I think personally, I still think with RPGs they should add a mount.
Pardon me?
I think they should add a mount to it. RPGs in general. I think they should add
Oh
it
yeah,
like a proper ad. Like
yeah.
bring like it could still be a fun thing, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there's just too many options for queuing.
Well, I mean, even if they just did a tabard and a new title for every time you want for every season, I think that would just go a mile in the right direction.
Yeah.
But let's hear what else. So one thing, this is just an aside, but if anybody didn't notice, it's a small tidbit. In the updated player starting pathway, or the way they're starting players off, so that initial 1 to 10 zone, apparently on top of everything else on teaching how to use your character and how to move around and do everything else, they're going to add in a small little part where it's going to teach you how to interrupt. So now we're going to have players that are actually going to learn off the get on how to interrupt, and not, with their first time in, let's say, Mythic Plus, and they get flamed because they didn't know to kick some caster mob.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then last but not least, new Demon Hunter spec. This was leaked ahead of time. Everybody was assuming it was true, but it got confirmed. So this one's weird though. So it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of looked like just a regular Havoc Demon Hunter, but instead of being fell, it's void. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I heard it's kind of like a rampy, sort of like a Shadow Priest, maybe almost. Like it's kind of,
Okay.
has sort of a slower damage profile and kind of, build up to some big bursts or something. But I think
Okay.
thematically it looks really cool, you know,
Yeah.
and it makes sense for the expansion.
Yep. Totally does. So the neat thing is apparently it's being classified as a caster, so this is good for PvE when certain a boss has an ability and it's only meant to hit the melee or only hit the casters, then you'll know which camp you fall in. I don't think that really matters for PvP though, right?
Well, I've had a little look at this thing. Devourer does. That's the name of the spec. It's called Devourer. It's really cool, and I still think it's going to be fairly bursty, like sort of Havoc is. But the difference is that there's going to be like what Big was saying. Like you go into meta, but you kind of consume orbs that maintains your meta. And so your meta form is kind of maintained by these things that you absorb, and then allows you to do abilities. So it has a very different kind of style of play style.
Okay.
But it's kind of like 25 yards, I think, along those lines. It looks really interesting. I think it'll be. It's to be honest with you, actually, it's basically like a new class. I think personally, it's like a new class.
Okay. Clearly I didn't pay that much attention because it was like, oh, it's a Havoc Demon Hunter that's blue. Okay. But
Havoc DHS blue.
yeah.
I mean, they haven't told you much. They haven't like put loads
No.
in, but honestly, like you're not far off the truth. But it's got some varying different play style, and I think that'll be really, really interesting.
Okay. And that's important, because if it's the same but just blue, then it'll go away. But if it's something completely different in how it plays and how it interacts with in the game, then that's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder. I guess the other question is, does it have an MS effect? Like
That's a good question.
Because we know how important that is. Well, I think that's about it that I was tracking for PvP changes or PvP stuff in Midnight. Oh, sorry, we didn't even talk. I totally glanced over it. The Epic BG, New Slayer's Rise, and the World PvP Zone. That's essentially so. New World PvP Zone is going to have the World Quest. It's going to have a bunch of questing in it, and then you can queue into Slayer's Rise, which is essentially the same zone, but that's on the instance side, and it looks kind of like an Ashran almost, with like the main road, which is the tug of war, and then there's like side quests that you can do around the different sides. The first thing that I thought of was if it's going to have the same issue with Ashran, where it's the first people that get the ogre. I can't remember the token where it just ramps up your damage a whole bunch for your team, and you just can wipe out a bunch. Because that kind of that makes or breaks in pretty much any Ashran, I feel. And then something else that a lot of people were also raising, both in our Discord, up on Twitter, and all that other stuff, is the fact that Epic BGs right now are a major lag fest, and
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering, like, as cool as this is going to be, is it just going to be another lag fest, and is it going to get just destroyed and infiltrated by Epic BG communities, right, and all the pre-made syncs? So
Well,
those are my concerns.
maybe the lag won't be that big of an issue if they continue with their plan of scraping a lot of add-ons, right? Like I assume that a substantial amount of the lag is coming probably from add-ons, like nameplate add-ons or details, or LVUI. I know is like a massive resource hog for people who do PvE. So maybe it won't be that big of an issue. I thought they did something with Epic PG queuing. I thought there's something recently. I mean, am I crazy that like these communities can't operate as well anymore?
So I
Wasn't
think
there some big change?
there was an add-on that was tracking people queuing and allowing for queue sync or to dodge queues. So I know there was that one that they broke. So if people queued in, so what was happening is that if two communities were queuing and one community wanted to dodge the other one, what they would do is they had this add-on, and then they would know that community X went into, I don't know, say Ashrans, right? And if they didn't want to play against them, then everybody would drop the queue. Unfortunately, what ends up happening then is all the people that were randoms end up going into the map, and there's so it's 10 versus 40 while they wait for the game to backfill the other 30, right? So I know they broke that part, but as far as I know, the Epic community, these QSync communities, they can still, they just make 5-person parties, and they all count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 queue, and then they just sit there, and then as soon as it pops, they say, "Yep, popped," and they go in or they don't, depending on what they want to do. Like, I don't think that's ever been changed. So, it's not like there's a lot of automation that I'm aware of. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's it's I think a really interesting question about what they'll do and what the opportunities are. I don't know how much automation will be in there, but we live in a very different age than when Ashran was a thing, in terms of technology in video games and technology at MMO. So I don't know. It'll be, I think it'll be very interesting to see, but I really hope it isn't just dead in the water because of lag and because of issues. I hope there is something that they can figure out.
Yeah, me too. Just want to point out in chat, Mortai is saying that apparently they know what's causing the lag. It's not add-ons, although that was an issue. And the change that they made was they eliminated spying. So a team couldn't send in a person, check out what the other team was, and if they didn't like it, then they could leave. That's that whole where you don't see the team until the gates open. Now, that was the change they made. But yeah, I think honestly, I think the biggest issue is when you have the massive team clash and you have all these spells and all these abilities going off and all the modifiers. I really think that having, let's say 30, let's say it's even 30 versus 30, right? So that's 60 different players all pressing buttons, and the servers, I think it just crunches down, and it's just so much information it's trying to calculate, that I think that's really what the lag is our games stuttering, waiting for the information to know whether something hit or not, knowing what ability to, what what sparkle to show off, what aura to buff up, or what you lose. and I think that's really what it is. It's over on the server side, is these servers just buckling down underneath all the calculations they have to do. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally get it. It makes
yeah.
total sense. But I don't want it to. I really don't want it to be dead in the water. I'd love for it to have
Oh, I
have
want
some legs.
Yeah, I want this to really work for the team. Like I said, it's my concern, but I'm gonna play it. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
Well, and that's the great thing about BGs, right? You know, you playing, you know, maybe you die to that. It's frustrating. You pop back up in the graveyard, wait your 15 seconds, and you're back on the road doing the next thing, right? And you're able, and I've seen teams come back from things like that and still win. So it just takes try to coordinate. I think the real question is will they, if they're able to improve the servers so that there's not as much lag, will we also see an improvement in using in-game voice so that you could actually do some team coordination in these randoms?
Oh,
That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one thing you change.
Oh, I see what we did there. Well done. Well done. I think that is one thing I'd change. Yeah. Let's improve, you know, maybe do something to sell in-game voice and make people want to use it in things like random BGs to coordinate and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Discord and Blizzard collab.
Mhm. Oh, well, if they did something where you could yeah, that would be awesome. So, oh yeah. Sorry, I just started thinking a bunch of really cool things. How about you, Jake? What's the one thing you would change?
Oh god. I've really put my foot in. I gave you the easy answer. Now I have to think of something. I would, yeah, okay, this is easy. I would do the changes to rated PvP rewards, where you'd actually no, this is what I would do. I would allow you to get the flags that you can wear from getting legend and stuff. You be allowed to use them in instant PvP.
Okay.
So you can wear the pennants or whatever they are.
Show off your swag.
Yeah, show off what you got.
Yeah. All right, I like it. How about you, Big? What's the thing you would change?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be in the game, but I would like to have a rug in my house, in my player house, of a Volpera. I'd like a Volpera rug because I don't like Volperas right now. They're making me mad, and so I'd like to have one on the ground to furnish my house. That's the one thing I would change. As sinister as that sounds, but that's what I want.
That is deeply sinister, but
That
I like
is.
it.
Ooh. Do you think they'll have that for PvP where after you kill so many of an enemy race, you can use them as a
Dude.
rug or as a wall hanger or something like that?
Exactly. It's like the Ashran thing. You instead of getting the Orc Slayer title, you just get a rug of an orc
Have a Volpera.
or Volpera, yeah.
Yeah. That's I like it. You know, why not? If we can have some tusks, why can't we have a pair of rug? All
I feel
right.
like everyone from Goldshare is like grinding that so they can have their human rug on the ground. Or
No, they're grinding something.
Yeah.
the
Big.
rug.
Yes. Big, can you list off where the listeners can find us?
Oh, absolutely, I can. You can contact us directly on X or Twitter at technically_PvP, or on Blue Sky at technicallypvp.bsky.social, or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Bonus Roll Productions Discord.
And you can visit the Bonus Roll website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at www.bonusroll.gg. This directory also has a review system, so head on over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows, including our own.
Indeed. And links for where you can find us will be in the show notes. And I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.
See you.